Caution. The following may contain non-politically correct language. Tongue twister. Non-politically correct language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, if you're ready for beautiful, natural-looking, easy-to-apply nails, 3 colored in 7 luscious hues, just...
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
Oh, goddamn hacker, that second damn night that asshole's cutting.
The movement was begun 8 months ago by a small group of scientists who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent through...
Let's take a look at these medieval or even just... How about pre-alarm clocks being invented days? They used a candle and they would stick like nails in it or pins and take a look. Who would have thought? This is how they woke up.
In the past, people used to place a pin in a candle at the desired height. Then they would go to sleep, hoping it would work as an alarm clock. The candle would melt slowly throughout the night, and by morning, the pin would fall, hitting a metal tray. That metallic sound would wake the person up without needing a clock. This kind of candle clock was mainly used by people who needed to wake up at very specific times, like bakers, blacksmiths, and even doctors. In more elaborate versions, they used several pins at different heights to mark multiple times, each one falling with its own metallic sound. And that wasn't the only weird invention to wake people up. In Victorian England, there were the so-called knocker-uppers. These people were paid to knock on windows with a long stick or even use blowpipes to make sure workers woke up on time. The weirdest part, some knocker-uppers hired other knocker-uppers to wake them up before their shift. But if you think that's strange, there were even beds with mechanisms that suddenly flipped, tossing the person onto the floor when the time came. Nothing like starting the day with a scare and maybe a bruised hip.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what happened to me last night. I woke up today with a bruised right shin. I mean, you'd think if I went to the bathroom and in the middle of the night, if I hit something, I would have really woke me up. No, that's strange. Anyway, it's kind of fascinating, eh? I'm going to throw the dog a bone. I got to throw a BitChute for this one. This is up their alley. This is Jordan Maxwell on Who is the God of the Jews Today. So we're going to take a look at this. Throw the dog a bone. Big thumbs up. This should get me a lot of thumbs up. Even the trolls, right? Right, trolls? So here's your minute and a half of
meaning an opposer in court. So in the Jewish religion, Satan is a word in Hebrew meaning an opposer in court. So in the Jewish religion, you going into court against your brother or against another Jew, that's very serious. You take a Gentile to court maybe, but now you're going into court to fight another fellow Jew. The word for an enemy that you're opposing in court is called a satan, S-A-T-A-N, a satan. A satan is an opposer who's opposing you in front of the judge. The judge is God. He's opposing you. The judges all wear black robes because black robes were assigned to Saturn's priest. Priests of Saturn always wore black robes. So a black robe represents someone who is officially representing Saturn. the god Saturn, who's the inhibitor. And he is the inhibitor. As the judge, he can throw you into jail.
So it is connected.
Oh, yeah, it's very, very connected.
Satan and Saturn.
Yeah, Satan and Saturn. But I'm saying that Saturn is a god of the Jews today, and they worship him on Saturn's day. And his name in the Phoenician language is Shabbat, and so they have today something called Sabbath. Mm-hmm. So in the Ten Commandments, remember to keep holy the Sabbath. Sabbath is a worship of planet Saturn. Why would you need to keep that holy? You need to go back in school and learn your own religion. You need to understand what these words mean.
There you go. Fran, you're the only one that commented last night. It's all right. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you saying that you love my work. That means a whole lot. Yeah, I go to your same, I don't even call it hairdresser, barber. That'd be cool if I went to your barber down under in Australia. I would love to visit Australia, but I guess I'll catch all these countries that I want to go to on YouTube because I'll probably never leave the United States. It's a shame. I would like to visit, but I don't really like flying, especially far for long hours. So we had 3 thumbs down clowns last night, so you could all fack off, you trolls, because that's what you are, you bots, you trolls. I'm just sick of the stupidity. All right, you stupid damn trolls. But let's take a look at the fast read headlines. What we have right here is Listeria outbreak that hospitalized 10 is linked to California companies' ready-to-eat products. Have you noticed that this Listeria is causing a lot of hysteria? Have you noticed that they constantly have food recalls? Have you noticed all that? You remember all the train derailments I was covering? Remember that? All the food processing plants getting blown up and going on fire, and oopsie daisy, a bridge and a barge hits a bridge, and another boat hits this other bridge in another area of the country. You remember that? All these food recalls. Remember the Boar's Head, a couple 100,000 pounds of deli meat recalled because of some kind of bullshit contamination. What is going on with these fucking food companies that they're either going up in flames, and remember oil refineries too, going up in flames. All that shit, this is an attack. I can't see it any other way but an attack. And it seems like they're just recalling the food, taking the food out. They'll give you the food and say, oops, it has Listeria, let's take it out. Under the guise of Listeria. You serious? What's going on with your food processing plants? You friggin' food places. Listen to this. This affected, let's see. A likely source of contamination has been identified in an ongoing Listeria outbreak affecting California and Nevada. All right, an outbreak of 10 serious Listeria infections that led to hospitalization has been linked to several ready-to-eat products, including snack boxes and sandwiches. I loves me a good sandwich. Publix makes a damn good sandwich. Let's see here. It says, so far officials have identified 8 illnesses linked to the outbreak in California, and an additional 2 cases in Nevada. According to the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, eat the food, take the drugs. So this company called Fresh and Ready Foods, well, they had a routine inspection happen there, and they found Listeria. So I mean, I don't get it with these food companies. What's going on with it, man? What y'all? Do you know? Do you not clean things? Do you not inspect your equipment? What's going on? This is stupid. This is constantly happening. Lettuce has Listeria. This has Listeria. This food recall. Every time I turn around, there's a fucking food recall, as if the food supply chain isn't damn strained enough with the fucking holes on the shelves since 2020, since the scamdemic, and you keep recalling food. Knock it the fuck off. All right? It looks to me like it's done on purpose. You can't be this haphazard, you companies out there. You're so haphazard every damn day that with your the treatment of food processing, that it's always contaminated. I'm not buying it. All right? It feels like it's done on purpose, just like everything else. Like there's no coincidences. It's bullshit. And I might have to just start focusing on this and keep calling out the food industry while the bird flu lays low. Because notice it's not around. I don't see it anywhere. I don't see it anywhere in the damn news cycle. But yet, eggs are still hovering around $3.99. Right? Right? Where's this Boyd flu? Where is it at? MIA for the last week, a month or so. South Africa, animals, meaning the evil bastards over there. South African animals put baby in the microwave, killing whites all over. I don't know what's going on in South Africa. What are you going, whites in South Africa? Why are you putting up with this shit? Why are you allowing yourself to be killed? You know the score. You know they're after you. Remember, kill the boa. Remember that racist piece of shit in the stadium said, kill the boa, meaning the South African farmer? Dumbass. That idiot, I forgot his name, but he said kill the boa, or meaning South African farmer. Kill the farmers, you have no food, you dumbass. And you're telling the whole stadium of groids to kill the boa. Why are you all putting up with this shit? If they're waging war on you, I would act accordingly. Shit, your life is on the line. And your livelihood for the farmers. Let's take a look.
Is horrific.
The amount of farm murders happening in South Africa is horrific. It's not just robbery. Why? Farmers. Hey, farmers in South Africa, what are you going to do about it? If you know you have a target on your back by these racist fucks, why are you not acting accordingly? If they're waging a war on you, these racist pricks are waging a war on you, how about you defend yourself? Is that not a thing over there?
It's not just rob, it's true terrorism, because they'll take a baby and they'll put it in a microwave. They will, I mean, it's awful. So Trump is right to offer them refugee status, because there is absolute discrimination.
Oh yeah, you South Africans, you white South Africans, come on over here. As a matter of fact, there's happened to be more white South Africans here around here than you would think. There's one down the road that owns or did own a health store. There's one up the road about 20 miles that owns a friggin' nice restaurant. It's a couple. I've met them, and I could go there once a year. Every time I go there, we go there, they remember us. And they're cool as heck, and they're nice people. Yeah, come on over, South Africans. We're talking about the white ones that are being persecuted. Come on over. Leave that fucking continent and watch what happens, just like that black guy said. Remember I showed a couple weeks ago? He said, when whites leave your city, your town, your area, the place turns to shit. So you already know most South Africans are cesspool. Leave South Africa, come over here. You white South Africans that are being attacked. Come on over. No problem with that.
And again, it is a communist, and the ANC government has direct communist origins. All the leaders of the ANC, where do they study? Patrice Lumumba University in Moscow. And the entire sub-Saharan anti-colonial movement was largely funded, organized, trained, enabled by the Soviet Union. And there is a huge amount of economic damage. Some of the countries are starting to come out of it. A lot of them are not. And then there's, you have competition for minerals now. The Chinese have really pushed into a lot of those areas because they really don't care about the rule of law. They will do black bag diplomacy, so they'll pay off. I mean, if you're a energy minister, foreign minister, or head of state from a target country that China wants to do business with, they bring you to China and they take you to the foreign ministry. In the basement of the foreign ministry, there's a vault you walk through with all kinds of safe deposit boxes, and they take you to one with your name on it, and it's filled with gold dory bars, cash, diamonds, and they say, this one's for you. Here's the key for it, as long as you play ball for us while you're in office. And so they do everything like that to undermine the rule of law. But there's actually been quite a bit of backlash, particularly in Africa, against that kind of Chinese investment, because the politicians get rich and the people get screwed. Because when the Chinese build a mine, they take everything with them from China. They hire as few locals as possible. They treat them horribly, and they don't buy anything from them. And so there is a great opportunity for Western capital that is responsible, because there's actually quite a bit more accountability and responsibility in our court system, in our public markets, that incentivize Western capital to behave well when they go abroad to do that. So that's really, I think it comes down to that global competition of governance philosophies. Is it responsible capitalism that is underpinned by the rule of law and some kind of human rights, versus a very centralized, communist, statist, relationship where the people are effectively serfs ruled by a maximum.
All right, there's a statue. All right, this one. Daddy, can I aspire to be like this statue? This fat bastard. You know who it is, this fat bastard right here? It's New York attorney, libtard, friggin' racist, POS, Letitia James. That's who it is. And the daddy's going, hell no. Notice, he's an alpha male, he's got traps, and he's strong, he's got lats. Look at him. He's no soy boy. And he's telling his daughter, hell no, you can't be like this POS. Statue, 12-foot statue of Letitia James. That friggin' commie, POS, anti-American son of a bitch. That racist POS right there, statue in New York City. Literally 12 foot of that fat bastard looking like that. It's embarrassing, New York City. You guys aren't. I grew up the first 11 years of my life, but it was nothing like that. Nothing like it. Y'all getting punked out, commied out, priced out. It's disgusting what's happening over there, especially during the scamdemic, where they forced you to wear muzzles, and they made you say, "Show me your papers" in venues and shit like that, right? Your Vaxports, and you all went along with it. You ain't so tough now, are you, New York City? Hey, you talking to me? Remember how tough if you just looked at someone the wrong way in New York City growing up, they want to fight you. Hey, what are you looking at? Now you ain't so tough, are you? You got a fat bastard, friggin' groid racist, POS commie, 12-foot statue. New York City. Daddy, can I aspire to be like that statue? Hell no, you can't aspire to be like that fat bastard, racist commie POS. He said. News? We have Fagala Anheuser-Busch. Now, I was down with Anheuser Busch Brewski. Now, I know a lot of you in other places of the world call it pea water. Well, it is. Bud Light, it is pea water. It's not strong beer or anything like that. But I drank it every now and then. Wasn't a big fan of Bud Light. Usually I drank Miller. If I couldn't get the actual beer at a restaurant that I normally drink. But I had really nothing against Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch until the Dylan Mulvaney, the faggy Dylan Mulvaney thing. And I covered that extensively a couple years ago. If you're paying attention, Fast Food Headlines, I was ripping that bitch a new one. Dainty little shoulders, little faggy, little dainty arms. I mean, that bitch with a big ass head and a little small ass body. Dylan Mulvaney. I don't know him personally, but I see girls at the gym that are very feminine, very girly, that have more muscle on them than that bitch Dylan Mulvaney. But Anheuser-Busch wanted to slap that bitch's mug on every damn can, pushing the transgender woke shit. Well, here they are now. Anheuser-Busch pledges $300 million to boost U.S. manufacturing. All right, they're saying that this is part of their Brewing Futures initiative to expand facilities, create jobs, and enhance veteran training programs, reinforcing its commitment to American production. You didn't seem so American a couple of years ago, Anheuser-Busch. You doing a turnaround? The move aligns with federal tariff policies incentivizing domestic manufacturing and addresses competition from microbreweries by emphasizing Budweiser's American identity, including the 2025 summer rebrand. Your American identity? Oh, do tell. Anheuser-Busch. You had one before the Dylan Mulvaney woke shit. Now you're going to go back to the American thing? I know you're banking on the fact that most people have the memory of a fucking goldfish and attention span of one too. But there's a lot of us out there that hashtag never forget. A lot. And that's one of them. So, yeah. We'll see how that works out for you. All right. And the final fast read headline we have right here, drum roll please. Vaccine for all influenza A strains developed in Nebraska. A quaccine for all influenza A strains developed in Nebraska. A new quaccine that will allegedly protect against several strains of influenza A viruses has been developed in Nebraska. This one shot for the avian influenza, bird flu, swine flu, and the seasonal flu, all wrapped up in one injection. They're still to this day, still fucking making the quaccines to inject in you damn sheeple. They literally got away with murder, and so far still getting away with murder from 2020-21, from the scamdemic. How many people have died from these damn shots? Now, there's a lot of us that are voicing our stand on this on Facebook and other platforms. I see it every day. Shove it up your ass, basically, what they're saying with the vaccines. But there's a lot of dumbasses still out there. I know, survival of the fittest, right? Let the dumbasses take theirs. I don't give a shit if you want to inject yourself with fucking poison, all right? But don't you dare, ever again, try to force that shit on us. Don't you dare try to fucking mandate us, damn threaten us to lose our jobs, our livelihoods, our whatever it is. Can't go in a damn sports stadium. I can't go see my favorite sports team or whatever the damn thing is, like you tried to pull off in 2020 with the fucking vaxports. That's why I'm cursing tonight. I'm pissed off because I'm sick of this shit. And I'm sick. This would not be happening if we didn't have enough dumbasses to this day still muzzling up, still ready to roll up the sleeves, still believing that there are viruses. We wouldn't be having any of this if it wasn't for the fracking sheeple still out there. Maybe their numbers have dwindled some, but not enough. There's still enough of them who go along with this shit. Bird flu shit. So inoculate yourself out, you little sheeple. Get your all-in-one avian, bird flu, swine flu. You're the swine, you little sheep. Bird flu, bird brain flu. Swine, because that's what you are if you take this. You're stupid, ugly, dumb swine. And your seasonal flu. Go get your 3-in-1, all wrapped up in one injection quaxine. See how that works out for you. As for me and my house, we ain't taking any shit. And don't you ever, B-System, try to force this shit on us. That's all I'm going to say. Take that needle, turn it sideways, and shove it straight up your Rudy Poo candy ass. If you smell what the shock treatment is cooking. Now, with that said, I'm going to attach a video here. It's going to talk about the grid down. I didn't cover it. I can't cover everything. Spain, remember that? Just recently. The grid went down. Whoopsie-daisy. Went down. Let's blame the sun. Or the sun simulator. The sun, seriously? The sun is local. Sending out solar flares. That's fake news. Alright, but they're always using the sun as a scapegoat that can knock down our grid or an EMP. Some guy in a cave can knock down our grid with an EMP or some bullshit. No, it's your own government that's going to do that. They've shown it, predictive program time and again. And they already beta tested in places like Spain. I know it was like something like 16 hours or something like that. It wasn't long, but they were beta testing to see how the sheeple. I meant to say people are, because not everyone's a sheeple. But let's see what they're up to. Take a look at this video right now, and get prepared. Get prepared for anything. For anything, you need to be stocked up. You need to be supplied up.
This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. Massive quote-unquote solar storms have caused communication blackouts around the Earth, specifically over in Africa and the UK. They are claiming that they got hit with back-to-back solar flares. Now, depending on what your beliefs are, me personally, I do not believe that solar flares are real. You have every right to believe what you want to believe, but of course, a lot of the reports that we get about solar flares and the images that we receive are all from NASA. So you obviously don't just take that with a grain of salt. You should automatically just discredit it and realize that any information you're being fed is usually 10 times out of 10 misinformation. And one of the things that they want out there is this narrative of solar flares. There's multiple narratives in regards to a massive grid shutdown and a massive attack that would destabilize countries, which would shut off all electronics, including cell phones. It's really the ultimate way to perform a great reset. And many people out there haven't been paying attention to that. They think that the Great Reset already occurred. You're talking about shutting off electricity in all nations. That would literally probably kill 9 out of 10 people if they do that for a full year. All planes in the sky would likely crash. All refrigeration would be shut down, which means we would lose the food supply chain that includes massive warehouses that have food, of course, grocery stores, etc. Clean water would not be able to be accessed anymore. You wouldn't be able to access money. You wouldn't be able to access any prescription drugs that you might be on. And of course, the SCADA systems would all be shut off. Nuclear facilities would all be shut off. We're talking fires, floods. There would be no access to any help whatsoever. It would really create utter chaos. And there's multiple narratives that they want out there so that when something like this happens, that you think that it's one of the narratives that you're being fed. One of the narratives, of course, is the solar flare, which is what they're pushing here. They've been doing this every single year. They've been putting stories out there about solar flares disabling communications. The other, of course, is a cyber attack. They've been programming you with a lot of predictive programming through movies, including the one that just came out called 0 Day, getting you or trying to get you to think that when a grid shutdown happens, that it's some type of event that's not caused by your own government, that it's either caused by some type of natural occurrence like a solar flare, which they feed down your throat and cram down your throat, or some boogeyman in the middle of a factory in Russia or China shutting off the United States of America's electrical grid. And again, don't forget, a couple of weeks ago, Spain was in total blackout for a few days. They still haven't figured out why Spain was in a total blackout, but the US could be next. And that's clear to me that these are obvious test runs as they're preparing for a massive EMP, which I'll get into later in the video. But even the World Economic Forum this week warning of growing cyber threats to energy infrastructure following the latest blackouts that have been occurring around the earth. But this is the propaganda they're putting on the news. And remember, they put this out there because they're planting seeds in your mind for a future event. And they want you to think that this is why it happened, because they cannot afford to have the people rise up against the current governments around the earth who are all responsible for doing this to their own people.
Almost 94 million miles from Earth, a powerful light show on the surface of the sun. The bursts of radiation are the strongest solar flares so far this year, but issues flaring up back on Earth. Shortwave radio blackouts have been reported on 5 different continents. A NOAA forecaster says the flare today occurred as the sun was over the Middle East, adding to the disruptions.
So there's an 11-year solar cycle, and right now we're kind of at the peak of one of those cycles of activity.
Scientists say the geomagnetic storms are caused by massive flares of plasma from the sun, specifically sunspots.
The X-rays that are coming out of those flares are actually striking a layer of our Earth's atmosphere that we bounce radio waves off of. And it's actually deforming that layer and causing a lot of disruptions.
Smaller flares happen regularly, but when they get strong enough, they can light up the sky in the form of aurora borealis in select corners of the world.
This is actually so sick.
Sometimes outbursts, turning skies pink and green further south than usual, bringing a light show to lucky residents in places like Chicago, Pennsylvania, even as far as Alabama this same time last year. Scientists say the sun reached its solar maximum last year with its largest flare in October. When the Earth gets bombarded by streams of charged particles, the flares can also disrupt cell phone service, GPS, and satellite communications. They can even wipe out power grids. And in space, they can actually put spacecrafts and astronauts at risk. All of it causing a firestorm online.
As we just had a powerful X2.7 solar flare.
Nobody's talking about what these solar flares are really doing to your energy.
As for that major blackout in Spain and Portugal a few weeks ago that grounded planes and disrupted hospital operations, Spain now launching an investigation, but so far, nothing to indicate solar flares are to blame, despite viral speculation. And at the center of all the activity in the last 24 hours, the sunspot known as AR4087, currently not directed at our planet, but rotating towards it, meaning the Earth might be out of the line of fire, but not for long.
Marissa Parra is joining us now. I mean, who knew, right? Could this thing get bigger? Like, could this explode more in the days to come?
Well, Hallie, let me explain it this way. So this, what we saw just now with AR4087, this was an extremely, and by the way, a rarely powerful storm. You can see the categories. This was the most strong type of solar flare. But here's the thing. This was not even Earth directed. So, Hallie, this rotation is going to continue so that AR4087 is Earth directed with the next coming days. So even if it's not as strong in the X category, Hallie, it could still have a major impact for us down here on Earth. That's tracking with the next few days, May 16th and 17th. So we'll be here.
Bottom line, right? Watch for the potential for more of those comms blackouts.
So again, depending on what you believe, most people out there who are awake do not believe in solar flares. Of course, there'll be some who say that they do. But remember, this is stuff that's getting fed to you from your government. This is stuff that's getting fed to you from NASA, these images they supposedly show you of the sun and these solar flares. So what we do need to pay attention to are some of the things that you heard in that video, because they're using things like the Aurora Borealis is the northern lights to convince people out there that this is a naturally occurring event. They said, look, when these solar flares happen, you'll see the Aurora Borealis in the sky. You'll see you're going to see the northern lights in Alabama and in Florida, right? But what they don't tell the common sheeple out there is that scientists, quote unquote, or should I call them psychopaths, up in Alaska for the last couple of decades have been using your tax money to actually transmit radio frequencies into the sky to create artificial auroras. And most people out there, when you tell them that they actually can make artificial northern lights, think that you're crazy, but they actually admit to doing it. Causing artificial aurora over Alaska. This has been happening week after week after week. What they do is they play and manipulate the ionosphere. They shoot energy into the atmosphere and they bounce it back onto the Earth. They don't want you to know about these things. They don't want you to know that they can create simulations in the sky. They don't want you to know that they're taking such high forms of energy to manipulate the atmosphere that it's causing lots of events to happen on Earth that they want you to think are naturally occurring events. And another narrative that's been out there, which I covered a couple of months ago, actually a couple of years ago, and again, all these videos have been removed from every public platform. They're available on the website, but I talked about the Carrington event. They've been programming people with the Carrington event. You probably know of the Carrington event because they want you to think about it and know about it. So the alt-right media, the conservative media, has been putting reports out there talking about a Carrington event. The event apparently occurred in 1859, or first the most powerful geomagnetic storm ever recorded. It caused massive solar flares that released a surge of electricity, charged gas, and subatomic particles towards the Earth, resulting in severe disruptions to telegraph systems, intense auroras, and even sparking and fires in some telegraph offices. And Tucker Carlson, who we all know is an agent, okay, he's been exposed many times. I've exposed him about a dozen times, even the last couple of weeks, showing him at the Freemason Lodge doing his interview with a UFC fighter, his bracelet that he obviously wears, the Pilgrim Society, which he is a member of course. These guys pretend like they're censored. They leave platforms, go to other platforms. There's no censorship. They're promoted all over the place. They're still promoted even by the mainstream media. The CNNs of the world, the NBCs of the world will still put clips of Tucker Carlson on their news so that they stay in the public eye because they want to keep them in the public eye. And one of the things Tucker Carlson was pushing, along with government asset Dennis Quaid, who plays one of these conservative actors, one of these ones that always shows up on Fox News, is that they're guaranteeing you of a Carrington event coming in the future. They want you to think that this is going to be a naturally occurring event, but it's not. Here's the programming they put out on Tucker Carlson about a year ago.
There is a 100% probability that our sun generating what they call a GMD, which is a solar storm. It's our Earth magnetic field that we have around the Earth can fry everything that is electric above the ground, including our entire grid.
And this would happen organically, naturally? That's just what the sun does?
There was they call it a Carrington event, which happened in, I think it was 1859. Basically, we had telegraph lines as far as electricity, and it fried our entire telegraph system. It had to be replaced. And
the entire thing? The
entire thing. Imagine what that would do now. There's 100% chance of it happening. 100-year event, they call that one. And
I'm not good at math, but
in the trillions of dollars, it would take out not only the electricity, but all of our entire infrastructure and our society runs our electricity. We don't know how to live without it. There wouldn't be any water in your tap. You couldn't get gas for your car. Everything that we rely upon would be gone. The food would melt in our refrigerators. And they predict within a year, about 90% of the population would be dead from starvation, disease. It gets back to the Stone Age again.
Well, that's shocking.
Yeah, so
a bit of information.
It really lifts your day, doesn't it?
It does. I'm adding that to the Armageddon file that's growing.
Nobody's on something that might occur, but this is definitely going to occur.
Just what nature might do.
Yeah, this is not what you call an enemy. This is the sun that we rely upon every day, and these solar storms that happen. Everybody's seen, pictures of the sun where the storm is happening, and these flares come out, and they're ejected out into the solar system. I think it was 2014, we barely missed one by 5 days. And it's going to happen. And then, once it hits the Earth, there's a 50% probability of it either being us or the Eastern Hemisphere, who's ever exposed to the sun.
So, an event like this happened in 1859, and it took out our entire telegraph system. And yet we built a system that's vulnerable to it.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So you might be saying, well, they're talking about a Carrington. How do we know that it's not really a Carrington event? Well, we know for sure one thing. We know that DARPA and our tax money has been funding our government developing high-powered electromagnetic weapons, EMP weapons, microwave weapons. How do we know this? Well, they admit to doing it. We just saw some of these high-powered microwave weapons, also known as directed energy weapons, another form of a high-powered electromagnetic weapon used obviously on Lahaina. And, you know, some people obviously have seen some of these directed energy weapons that were used to direct energy and frequencies at people's smart meters to blow up homes. Your governments around the earth have the ability to wipe out the Earth's power grid, which would result in something greater than a great reset. It would result in the deaths of billions of people. The outbreak was not part of the Great Reset. It was just part of a phase in it. This would be the ultimate coup that they could pull. And DARPA is actively involved in developing and researching high-powered electromagnetic pulse weapons, and they've got it mastered and they're ready to roll it out. So you're seeing testing done in locations like we just saw or heard in Africa, in the UK, in Spain a few weeks ago. They want you to think that these mystery power outages are all occurring because, well, the power grids are weakened. Cyber attackers are coming after it. But the reality of the matter is that they're ready to roll. And by 2030, you can expect a massive power outage around the Earth in many specific locations. Here are some clips about EMPs for people out there who are not familiar.
Some of the weapons the military gets to play with these days are straight out of science fiction. Things like railguns and laser cannons. Well, now you can add one more to the list, the electromagnetic pulse device, or CHAMP. Here's how it works. If you can focus enough energy on a target, you can fry any electrical system in use, whether it's computers or the wiring for lights. Electromagnetic pulse phenomena, or EMP, was first observed during the testing of nuclear weapons. But fortunately, the CHAMP device doesn't require a nuclear explosion, or any explosion at all. Like they said in Ocean's 11, where they used one to rob a casino, it's like a bomb, but without the bomb. So, when does it go into service? Well, according to the Air Force, it's already deployed, along with the LAWS laser system and that long-distance heat ray thing.
Newt Gingrich. Asked during the debate to name the security threats that worry him, Newt Gingrich lays out 3 scenarios: a weapon of mass destruction in an American city, a cyber attack, and something many have never heard of.
Electromagnetic pulse attack, which would literally destroy the country's capacity to function.
An electromagnetic pulse attack, or EMP. It's been the stuff of fiction on the Fox show 24.
It's an EMP!
But it's also a real threat, experts say, and it likely wouldn't look like that. An EMP attack, they say, is an intense burst of electromagnetic radiation. It can be triggered by detonating a nuclear weapon at high altitude, a weapon that could be launched by a rogue nation or a terrorist group with access to it. Detonated low to the ground, atomic weapons have a devastating physical shock. But detonated miles up in the atmosphere, experts say, the main impact is electrical, energy that doesn't kill people but spreads like lightning, striking any electrical grid or circuitry, feeding into them, burning them out. Whole cities could go dark. Security analyst James Carafano has written about EMP attacks.
In one single event, what could be disabled? If you had a large-scale EMP event in the United States, everything would be disabled, because even things that weren't knocked out, let's say your car, which might be okay, but the electrical grid's going to be gone. There's going to be no way to do traffic lights. There's going to be no way to land ships. There's no way to get fuel to the gas stations to refuel your car. And if you got them there, the gas pumps wouldn't work.
Think of this fictional attack in the movie Ocean's 11. We demonstrated electromagnetic interference on a much smaller, less threatening scale at the University of Maryland, showing how magnetic fields from some electronic devices often interfere with other devices.
You hear this ringing behind me? We're showing you what electromagnetic interference is. Say this television is a car. The car's function is rolling along normally. Here's a cell phone ringing. When it gets close to that, you can see how the audio of the television signal changes. You can hear the interference. That's essentially it's interfering with the car's function.
But with a large-scale EMP attack, experts say, computers would fail. telecommunications cut off, bank accounts inaccessible. They say that's because the transformers that power many electrical grids take a long time to manufacture and transport. And with transportation knocked out by the attack, that prolongs the isolation.
So your government isn't developing those types of weapons to use on another country. You think America is going to use that on Russia or on China? These governments have been developing this technology to use on you. This is how you bring in poverty. This is how you kill off populations. We talk about the Georgia Guidestones, when they deliberately blew those up, right? Took the time capsule out. Of course, they don't want you to know that. But remember the Georgia Guidestones. Population, 500 million. Well, we're supposedly at 8 billion. And there's a lot of work to still be done. The people who went and poisoned themselves, some of them are still walking the earth. Doesn't mean that they're going to be walking the earth for very long. But if you shut the grid down, you will cause immediate deaths to people. You will cause mass hysteria. We're talking about food and water being completely scarce. Nobody will be able to access any of these things with a grid shutdown. Most people will lose their minds just by not having a phone. In fact, people whose phones get disabled, and some people will be able to avoid complete shutoffs of actually having electronics, because some people will have transistor radios. Some people's electronics may survive. Some people may have them in actual Faraday bags and things like that. But the narrative that's going to be out there when it does occur, because there will be a narrative circulating around it, is going to be this mystery as to why it happened. And you're going to hear them push propaganda on you, because some people will still be able to access communications while others won't. People will likely completely, their heads will explode when they wake up and see that their phone is off. They'll be more concerned about getting their phone turned back on than they will be concerned about actually finding food and water. They'll probably just be laying in their room, continually pressing the on button, trying to plug it into the wall for about 10 hours, going to their car, not realizing that an EMP would wipe out their car battery likely, trying to start their car just so they could charge their phone, right? Maybe then, of course, we'll have Starlink completely hooked up so people will have access to, maybe if they could find some type of generator to charge their phone, whether you have one of those, a generator that you could use for solar power generator, like a Jackery type of thing to charge a phone, right? Those will be the main concerns of the majority of society when this does actually go down, before they're actually thinking about food and water. It'll be about 12 to 24 hours before they realize they need food and water, and then they'll stop thinking about their phones, and then they'll be like, oh crap, I don't have enough time to actually find food and water because I've spent most of my time trying to figure out how to get my electronics back on so I can go on TikTok and be entertained, right? But we've seen the predictive programming out there, and we know how they operate, right? Here's a few of the very, known predictive programming films out there, including Leave the World Behind, that have shown us the world getting hit with an electromagnetic pulse, cars shutting down on highways, planes falling out of the sky, because that's what it would look like if your government uses an EMP on you.
I went online this morning and I rented us a beautiful house out by the beach.
Oh, this is nice. This looks so happy.
The Wi-Fi isn't working.
I'm so sorry to bother you, but this is our house.
This is your house?
We were driving back to the city, then something happened. You think everything's gonna be okay.
We are seeing ongoing cyber attacks across the country.
Something is happening, and I don't trust them.
I would do anything to protect my family. What you do is your business.
Get in the car right now!
Haven't you been picking up on what's going on out there?
Whatever it is, it's happening to all of us.
What is the truth?
Very, very carefully.
Look at that.
It's all going to turn off.
What?
It's going to turn off, and it will never, ever turn back on. Everything is going to turn off.
Ben, did I lose you?
No.
So EMPs have been something I've talked about for a couple of years because it's important to remember them, because there's all these other clouded voices coming in from around you that are trying to convince you that if something like this does occur, that it could be a natural event or it could be a boogeyman that they just make up in Hollywood. They write in a script that say it's a guy in a hoodie, he's over in a cave somewhere, in Afghanistan or he's in Russia and he wanted to shut off America's power grid because he wanted to kill billions of people and be a mass psychopath, genocidal madman, right? But the reality is, our government has admitted all these people who are rich and powerful, like Bill Gates, have talked about depopulation. That's all they talk about. And they're still allowed to walk the streets and they're still allowed to be the richest people on earth. They still go on talk shows and flaunt how they believe that the biggest threat to America or to the earth is population and they need to have population control. And everybody in the crowd laughs when they tell you it. They want everybody dead. These people admit to it. The biggest, how many times have we heard the Ted Turners of the world, the Rothschilds of the world, the Rockefellers of the world, the Kissingers of the world talk about population control being the biggest threat to humanity? That means they need to kill people off. And the easiest way to do it is to shut off electricity. Our society is 100% dependent on electricity. And I'm not sitting here acting like I'm not dependent on electricity, because I am as well. We all grew up in this, where we've taken things for granted, like food and water and electricity. And they know by shutting off a grid, it would wipe out the majority of the earth. And then, of course, when they turn it back on, because it would only be temporary, they know how compliant everybody will be just to have electricity back. And then when they talk about rationing electricity and everything else because of the carbon footprint, most people will go along with it because they'll never want to live without electricity again. And that's, of course, if they live long enough to actually see that day, because many people will not live very long if there's an extensive blackout that occurs. And again, nobody will look at their own government as being responsible for it because of all these things they put in people's heads about solar flares and cyber attacks and how our grid is vulnerable. These are stories after stories after stories that have come out over the last couple of years, and they come out for a reason, because they're out there to program you. Remember, the news isn't to inform you, it's to condition you. And when these things occur, they want you to believe that it's a narrative that they tell you ahead of time so that you never look at them as being the ones who are responsible. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.
Be a weirdo out there. Don't be a troll. If you see a troll, say something. Stuff that ain't truth pipe and smoke it. Make way, because the current must flow if you listen to this.
You are the resistance.
Sweet dreams.